Forgive me, friends, I have purposely neglected to inform you about a certain set of mechanics related to our seasonal survival when it came to our previous mild and hurricane season guides. But we all must learn somehow, right? Welcome to Monsoon season, folks, and I hope you aren't too down from the journey here, because this next stretch of days is bound to dampen your spirits even more so. We have but a couple days before we see significant environmental change at play, so if you need to play catch up, you better start now. Your first order of business, crafting a hefty number of sandbags if you haven't already. These are going to aid in keeping our base as dry as possible. Furthermore, I advise you begin hoarding some man-made turf like wooden flooring as you go along as well. We'll discuss why very shortly, but know they'll play a huge role in safety and accessibility within the season. How sandbags work, however, is pretty darn simple. They're used to prevent and isolate the soon-to-be forming puddles on every island in your world. Leave these things to expand, and the constant downpours from the heavens and tides up below will eventually drown everything in sight. But using sandbags, we can straight up contain an expanding puddle, or stop one in its tracks immediately through placing a pile directly in the middle of a newly formed puddle of water. The key word there is newly formed, simply because it will be easier to tell where the center actually is, but you can manage some larger ones all the same. But good luck and get bagging. Man-made turf is a different thing entirely, although still incredibly useful. Turf that you yourself craft and place actually prevent these puddles from forming atop them entirely. However, expanding puddles that formed off the turf can and will still seep onto the turf itself. But with these two flood prevention mechanics in your mind now, I'm sure that some of you know where we're going with this. Combined, they can be used to stop any and all flooding in and around your bases, or heck, even an entire island. If you took my small island base advice, of course. We'll touch on this more real soon, but what exactly are we trying to prevent here? What actually happens to areas that flood? Nothing good. Nothing good at all, everyone. If within flooded areas, all science and magic crafting stations lose all function. As in, you'll be incapable of accessing any additional crafts within these respective machines at all. Food preparation takes a massive hit as well, as both crockpots and iceboxes will be inaccessible. And yes, that means anything already in them is kinda stuck unless you hammer them and hammer them alone. Flingomatics and just about every other mechanical machine you can think of are practically broken and useless, so that's even more blows taken. And finally, all variants of fire pits are worthless in flooded areas, hence the need for chimeneas beyond simple rain and wind purposes. Yup, flooding could very well spell utter disaster, as you can easily lose complete access to basic survival needs, and that is not good. So how in the world do we really combat all this nonsense? Well, thankfully, we should at least already have the proper wetness gear to not only deal with this ridiculous rainfall, but also to stay as dry as possible while walking on all this water. We'll be obtaining a clothing item later that will replace all of this, but be sure to keep your snakeskin hat and jacket maintained and at the ready, as both combined mean zero wetness gain from rain or even on flooded land. Protecting base is a whole separate beast. I don't know where you're planning to or have set up already, so I can't truly give you a locked-in set of advice, but I can put your mind at ease and say what you're seeing here now is an extreme. Preventing flooding across an entire island is 100% possible, especially on smaller pieces of land. But let's just assume that this is out of reach for most of you out there. And if that's the case, it really is quite simple, actually. Don't spread out too far and turf under what you can and sandbag what you don't mind being potentially flooded. Cause you only need to save all them machines and stations we mentioned prior. So if you contain an area without turf, but still protect the rest with sandbags, then you're honestly golden. Heck, knowing what you know now, you can just plan ahead and again, space your areas accordingly in order to potentially turf under it all, as I said. Do that, then all you need is a sandbag border and the monsoon season has got nothing on you. Because in areas that are flooded, just put on your wetness gear. It's okay. Except there's a problem. Rising water isn't the only thing that threatens us, because out of flooded areas comes pesky, annoying poison mosquitoes that may not pack a punch, but deliver something worse. Even but one bite means immediate poison for you, and having to potentially deal with that on top of everything else could very well mean a death sentence for some. But a simple seashell suit or horned helmet are all you need to put yourself at ease among these buzzers. Both prevent the actual poison effect from these attacks from occurring in the first place. So, there you go. However, I really wouldn't bother. Poison mosquitoes drop their sac, which heals for 20, and have a chance of dropping a venom gland as well. But do you really want to tussle with these bugs just for that? One wrong move, and you'll have poison to deal with. And after a few hits even, they eventually explode, dealing 34 damage each. It's just not worth it. But while we're on the topic of things wanting to murder your face off, remember those blue croco dogs you may have encountered in the previous season? Well, they're back, and all their mechanics are in play this time around. They'll shake and spread puddles. They'll spread water upon you hitting them potentially, and they'll even create a puddle always upon death. They may have 50 less health than normal, but they do deal more damage, and are just deadly in their own right after death. So hopefully you've set up a teat trap area or even an elephant cactus area by now. A few things before we talk sharks. Like in spring, our local honey providers now hate our guts, but with land masses being largely separated and bees themselves being relatively rare and shipwrecked, this really isn't an issue, unless of course you're honey farming. Also, like in spring, monsoon season sees the temporary disappearance of yet another mob, the sand-dwelling crabbits, and it makes total sense, as they really are just the rabbits of Shipwrecked. But expect their dens to be caved in, and for this potential food source to be off the menu for a while. Oh, and if you enjoy whale hunting like the monster you are, I have a surprise for you come the end of your suspicious bubbly journey. Blue whales will be the only whales available in monsoon season, as Moby Dick ain't around during mild or monsoons. You lose out on the harpoon chance, but all the other loot from whales is still on the table. So go ahead and watch our guide to learn more. But the ultimate danger of the season, the tiger shark. Depending when or where you first encounter her, seeing as you can actually spawn her at any time actually, she'll explode onto the scene, ready to defend her babies. You see, she and her den can practically spawn anywhere or anytime. But it won't be until monsoon season that the shark kittens are born and emerge from their home. So if you go to the den during this season here, Mama is not gonna have it and will come to protect what is hers every time. But let's discuss how to go about rendering her little ones orphans. The tiger shark is one of the easiest bosses around, especially on land. As long as you maintain a 2 to 3 hit kiting pattern while not being stupid and avoiding her potential butt slam, you'll be more than alright, I promise. Just always remain aware of potential extra hits as always though. On water, she's really just annoying, simply because she does this breach and dive attack more often than not. So the fight usually takes longer compared to the other method. That being said, it's the same kiting pattern depending on your boat speed, and again, just don't be under her fat belly, you numpties. And once dead though, Mama will drop 8 pieces of raw fish, which are actually fantastic when cooked, so do your best to preserve them for any food needs you may end up having. But most importantly, the shark gills. If you wish, you can use one of them along with some simple vines and seaweed in order to craft a sea sack. It's a backpack with 2 less slots than normal, however it comes with the bonus of slowing food spoilage, so there you go. Sadly, this means nothing for cooling thermals or keeping ice from melting, but the draw of the sea sack is that one can use it on the sea as a water-based icebox, and that is really all the endorsement that's needed. Alternatively, however, you're a fool if you do not use your first shark skins for the amazing Dumbrella. It's not only highly fashionable, but provides 100% wetness resistance, completely shields you from lightning strikes and jelly shocks, and even protects against overheating. Enough said, I think. Oh, she also drops the Eye of the Tiger Shark, which is not only an edible item, but one also used in creating the Super Spyglass. Spyglasses are simply used in mapping parts of the world which remain unseen, and the Super Spyglass just does what a normal one does, only super. Use as you please. Hey, look, we're back to trawl netting, but in monsoon season this time. So is anything new? Nope. Not at all, because if you crawl, both mild and monsoon season share the same trawl net loop pool, so unfortunately, there is nothing new to cover here. But have fun looking for stuff anyway. And yes, once again, all this bloody rain is annoying, but it means quicker and better harvests, so keep an eye on your farms. You can very easily continue to stockpile resources before the heat hits. Mild season was all about first steps into an unknown world of tropical hell and conquering its resources. Hurricane season brought the first set of true changes and elemental challenge that we cunningly overcame with ease. But monsoon season rained down with an absolute vengeance and threatened to drown us in all our sorrow. The lesson to walk away with, though, is both mild and hurricane season are kinda meaningless. Everything you do should be in prep for the monsoon. Do your thing. But always, always plan ahead and protect what's yours. Keep your wetness gear at hand until you craft a new and improved set. Keep the floods away from your sciencey technology. And by golly friend, find that volcano along the way. We're gonna need it very, very soon indeed. But thanks for watching, everyone. Well wishes to all. Stay dry out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.